Welcome to another Teach to Code. So today we're going to explore the graphical user interface. So the graphical user interface, or the GUI, is going to be what we use to display windows, text boxes, labels, buttons, and different types of components. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first thing we need to do is make a new project. We'll go ahead and click next, and then we're going to call this my GUI test. So I'm going to go ahead and make my application here. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to erase some of these comments here, and I'm going to go ahead and make a variable. So the first thing I need is a JFrame. Now the JFrame is what would be equivalent to a window. So let's go ahead and do public static. So we're going to use the public identifier and the static keyword, and we're going to do, well, static modifier, and we're going to say JFrame. We're just going to call our JFrame JF. So it's going to give us the red squiggly. We have to add the import for it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is come in here to the main method, and we're going to go ahead and make a new object of JFrame. So JF is equal to new JFrame, and we're just going to pass a string into the argument. We're going to call that my window. So now we need to set a couple of parameters. We'll do jf.set default close operation. We'll do jframe.exit on close. So super important, you exit the program on close. The program could stay running on the background if somebody closes the window without this line of code. So in theory, the program can use up a little bit of memory from the system, making things run a little bit slower. So if you're using a bigger program, you want to make sure you do set default close operation. So we'll do jf.setSize, and inside of set size it's going to take a width. So we'll go ahead and set the width to 400 and the height to 300. Next, we're going to do jf.set location relative to, and we're going to just pass null into that. So set location relative to null is going to place our window in the middle of the screen. So next we're going to do jf.set visible to true, so we want our window to be seen by the user, and we could do jf.set layout, and we're going to set that to null. So what that's going to do is it's going to set us to an absolute layout, and with an absolute layout we can move our components wherever we would like, so we're not bound by a grid or other borderlines. So I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And what we have here is the window, right? If you notice, my window appeared, so let me go ahead and close it. My window appeared because that's what we passed into the argument when we created the object. So next, we're going to go ahead and make a JLabel. So JLabel is just uneditable text, so it displays some information. So public static JLabel, and we're just going to call it JL. We got to add the import for it, and then we're going to come here below JFrame. So JL is equal to new JLabel, so we got to make a new object of JLabel, and we're going to say here is my text. Next, we're going to do jl.setBounds. So setBounds will help us place our object. The first argument it takes is an x coordinate. So we're going to do 150x. We're going to go ahead and do 100 Y. And then the next component is the width. So we're going to try 100 width. And then we're going to do 16 height. And then the last thing we need to do is go and add it to our JFrame. So we call our JFrame object dot add, and we're going to add our JLabel object. So be a little careful. I know it's weird. JF.add.JL. But essentially JF is the frame, JL is the label. So we want to add the label to the frame, right? So here's my text. So that's all we've done so far. So let's go ahead and add a button. So we'll do public static JButton. So hopefully you're starting to fill this flow. We'll add our import. If you're kind of catching on, you're going to have to make an object of JButton and instantiate it into the variable. So we're going to store it inside of the variable. JButton, so make a new object. Inside of this string, I'm just going to pass click me. And if you're catching along, it's going to be the text that goes inside of the button. So next, we're going to do jb.setBounds. And setBounds is going to let us place it. So we're going to do 150, comma, 130, comma, 90, comma, 16. So we're going to have a X position of 150. We're going to have a Y position of 130. We'll have a width of 90 and a height of 16. And the last thing we got to do is add it to the JFrame. So JB. So let's go ahead and run our program. And so far we have a button and the text, but nothing's happening. So that's perfectly fine. It's not a big issue. So the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to add a method, so that way when we click our button, something's going to happen. So the way we do that is actually by adding an action listener to the button. So the action listener sits and waits for it to be clicked. So we call JB, we say add action listener, and we're going to pass a new action listener into the argument here. And then it's a method, so we're going to actually need curly braces here. Now let me scroll down. So it'll look kind of this setup: curly brace, parentheses, and then semicolon. Sorry, I was drawing a blank. So I need to add the import for action listener. It gets a little frustrated with us, so it wants us to add the action perform method. Now I've been typing out the action perform method, and for some reason NetBeans isn't liking it. So if I come here, implement all abstract methods, it makes the action perform method for me. But I find it very weird that it doesn't let me. But anyways, we don't need to throw the new unsupported operation, so we're just going to erase all of this. Now when we click the button, let's go ahead and make the JLabel change its text. So we could simply do that by calling the JLabel object and do set text. Now we can type in here, I have changed. So if we did everything right, this method here, well, this action listener with the method action performed will change our text label to say I have changed. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. So I have changed. So there we go, guys. That was quite a bit to program our first GUI, but essentially that's how it works. So JLabels, well, JFrames are our windows, right? Super important. You notice that there was some things that are good to set on a default, really, right? You want to make sure you set that, the default close operation. You definitely want to set size, or it's going to do a default size for you. Set location relative to, you don't really need that. Let me go ahead and oops, all I was trying to do is comment it out, so let me go ahead and comment it out. So you'll see it makes my window come up at the top left. So not the most like buggy thing, but it's kind of more, I don't know, there's something about it when it comes out in the middle of the screen. So you want it to be visible, and the layout, well, you know, the layout is good for us because we can set bounds and put our objects where we would like. So I hope you guys liked the video. Give me a like and subscribe. I'll check you guys in the next one. Bye.